What's up, EV Clan? Alex Espion here, and welcome back to the next episode of the Pokemon Red Randomizer Nuzlocke. In the last episode, we made it through the water route, that is going down from Fuchsia City, which is where Koga is located, and we made our way to this island right here, which we are currently on, in this cave, on the Seafoam Islands. And so today, the goal for today's episode is just to get out of this cave and make it to Cinnabar Island. We're gonna have a bunch of, like, Pokemon Mansion. I don't know how long the Pokemon Mansion is gonna take. If I remember correctly, it's quite long. So we're definitely not gonna... So we're probably gonna not do Pokemon Mansion today. And we're probably not gonna do Pokemon Mansion today. We probably won't even get in there, and if we do, we're definitely not beating it. I should probably switch Oliver out of here before they freaking die, because this Lapras poses quite a threat to Oliver. I don't know what they went for, but it did a lot of damage, and I shouldn't have kept Oliver in anyway, because I keep forgetting that Oliver is not just a poison type, but a ground type as well. They went for Body Slam, I guess, because Oliver wasn't paralyzed before they started fighting the Lapras, and now they are. So, I suppose that is the only thing they could have possibly used. And I saw judging by the damage that the Lapras had used a water type move, but it did not. It was not even super effective. It was just a pretty hefty Body Slam. But anyway, in between episodes, I looked up two things. And I don't know if this was in between the last episode and this episode, or the last episode and the episode before that, and I just forgot to mention it in the last episode. But I looked up two things. And one of them was I looked into Victreebel's Pokedex entries, because I said in the previous episode about how there's a Pokedex entry that says Victreebel breaks down its prey, breaks down its prey, bone and all, leaving nothing. And I said that it was either the Ultra Sun, that it was a Gen 7, and I said that it was a Gen 7 Pokedex entry. I originally said Ultra Sun and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, or Sun and Moon, and then I thought about it some more, and I said it's probably Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. And upon looking into it, I did find that it was actually Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. I don't recall which one. I don't know if they're different. I'd imagine the Pokédex entries are different, because they are in, like, every other game. I don't think I actually have to do this rock section over here, because, if I remember correctly, like, the rocks are only for the puzzle to get Articuno, and we don't really need to get Articuno. We don't really need to access that static, because even if we did, it would be rough to try to catch it, because we already used our Master Ball on the Zapdos encounter, which turned out to be a Mew, which we named Polly, I believe. Either Polly or Molly, I don't remember which one. That almost killed us. I probably was overestimating Oliver's abilities a little bit, but that's okay, Oliver got alive. Oliver did not let me down. But that being said, we should probably not... we should probably watch Oliver. We should probably, like, start switch training Oliver now, because I don't think they can take anything else by themselves. I'm not going to switch them out of the front, because I still want them to get an XP, because they're still quite a bit lower level than everyone else, but I will be switching them out immediately from now on. I don't think they can take literally anything else. Like, even if it was just another Charmander, it would kill them at this point. Anyway, it's Polly. I don't know if I said it. I think I said it was Polly, either Polly or Molly. So I was correct in a sense. What was I thinking it was more? I think I was thinking more that it was Molly. So I think that since it's Polly, I was technically more on the wrong side. But I'm fairly sure that you don't have to do all that rock stuff. You just have to go back up, and then you'll be on the other side. Because the thing about the Seafoam Islands cave, I don't know what the cave is called, because this is just sort of like the Seafoam Islands, and this is just sort of like a cave on the Seafoam Islands. Like, this cave doesn't seem to have an actual name. Like, obviously, usually, it's like, oh yeah, there's a name for this route, but usually it's just like the route number, and then on this route, the specific numbered route, there is a cave. And, like, usually the cave is the thing with the name. Like, usually it's just a route with this famous cave on it, but in this case, the cave is the thing without a name, while the place where the cave is located is the thing that has the iconic name. See, I'm pretty sure this cave doesn't really have a name. I'm pretty sure it's just like, this is the cave on Seafoam Islands. So I guess, like, Seafoam Cave would probably be, like, what it would be called. But yeah, I'm fairly sure, because this cave, basically, is like a joint cave. Like, it is a cave that takes up, like, the majority of the island. And basically, what you have to do with the Seafoam Islands is you have to get from one side of the island to the other. Like, you go down the water route, and then you come to the right side of Seafoam Islands, but you need to get to the left side. And so but like the cave is blocking off the left side, so you need to go into the cave and go to the other side of the cave in order to reach the left exit, so that you can get out on the left side, I believe. So I believe we just go down here, and we should be on the right side now. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, we started down here, and then as you can see, we could not get through because the cave itself was blocking our way through. And now we are on this side. We could not get over to this side before because between the fence and the cave. And obviously, we could not... Wait a minute. Yeah, we could not get past... Could we? Did I do this right? I did not do this right. This is where I came in. No, crap. We need to... What? Hold on. Now I'm getting confused. Didn't we come from this way? Where do we need to go? I think we need to go... down. Okay, so we're blocked in here. We can't go up this way. We can't go that way. And we can't go down this way. So that means we need to go down there. But why can't we just go down there from here? Why do we need to use the cave? Because I remember we need to get through this cave somehow. We need to get from one side of the cave to the other, but I don't... Like, I thought that we needed to get to the left side from the right side. I didn't even know we needed to get from the left side to the right side. Who surfs on this team? Andrew surfs. Andrew, of course, my Jolteon. Because obviously, Jolteon knowing surf is, beginners, is just like, common knowledge for every Pokemon player. But yeah, we do need to, there is no other way to get down there besides through the cave system. So, I was wrong. I guess I just went in a huge circle and ended up back where I started. Frick, for a second I thought I got out of, like, the Seafoam caves in a timely fashion. But, that never happens. Even when I'm not looking to get to Articuno, that doesn't happen, I suppose. But, yeah. The other thing I looked up was, what the pitcher plant does to lure in its prey. Because I said in the video where I was talking about pitcher plants... which video where I was talking about pitcher plants? There were a bunch of them. But, like, I said in, I believe, the final video where I was talking about pitcher plants, obviously it's not, like, the final one, because I'm still talking about pitcher plants, because I'm talking about the video where I was talking about pitcher plants, and really, this carnivorous plant thing doesn't seem to be dying out anytime soon. It seems like the conversation just keeps on going back to this. But, like, what can I say? I need to fact-check things, because I said a lot of stuff that I wasn't, like, quite sure was true. So now I've had the ability to look it up in between episodes, and now I can confirm and deny in some aspects. And I will do both those things in this situation. So basically, what I said about pitcher plants in that episode, it was the, like, last episode where I was, like, really talking about pitcher plants. The main episode where I was explaining them. Because, basically, if you missed it, this whole conversation about carnivorous plants started in Silphco when I saw a victory bell, and that prompted me to explain, pitcher plants, because victory bell is a pitcher plant, and I was curious and I didn't think that, like, a majority of my audience would know. I wasn't sure if like, you as the audience knew what a pitcher plant was, so I decided to explain it. But before I could explain what pitcher plants are, I figured it would be a good idea to explain what carnivorous plants are in general. And oh my gosh, that critical hit almost killed me. That is scary. We're getting Carly out of here right now, or are we? Should we just heal? Shall we just heal? I think that I don't want to split the XP. I don't want to have Oliver splitting the XP with any more Pokemon than they have to. Because, like, okay, you want to switch train? Fine. It's like 2 Pokemon have to share XP. But then you do, like, another switch, and then it's like, okay, 3 Pokemon have to share XP. At that point, each Pokemon is getting so little that it's just like, So I will just heal Carly, just for the sake of Oliver getting more XP. But, oh my gosh, and then we get switched out anyway. Carly ran away scared. Oh, it's a wild Pokemon. Okay. I forgot that it was a wild Pokemon, but I guess, like, there aren't a whole lot of trainers in here. So how do we get to that side? Because now I know which side we need to be getting onto. And there are a lot of ladders on that side, but I feel like all the ladders went down, and I couldn't really access any ladders that went up before. We should definitely switch out, because, first of all, we're at 16 health. Second, we're paralyzed. And third, ground types are super effective against us. Because ground doesn't resist ground, and we are poison. And ground is super effective against poison. So, with this type combination, with Oliver's type combination, yes, they are weak to ground. Because while a lot of types are resistant to themselves, ground is not one of them. But yeah, anyway, basically I figured that it would be a good idea, before I explained what pitcher plants were, to explain carnivorous plants in general. Because I feel like while a lot of people know carnivorous plants, I just want to make sure that everyone is on the same page about what exactly a carnivorous plant is before I start talking about a specific type of carnivorous plant. Where on earth are we being sent right now? What the heck? Is Articuno over here? We just sort of dropped and then the current took us who knows where. But we are switching out. I know it's just a Jigglypuff, but I don't feel safe sending Oliver out against anything with 16 health and paralyzed. So, yeah, we're gonna switch to Gerald, who is better equipped to deal with this right now than Oliver is. Really, anyone is better equipped to deal with this right now than Oliver is, because Gerald is also paralyzed, but at least they're not at 16 health. They are 4 times bad. They're at 4 times bad, 64. They may be down to 16 health rather quickly if they get paralyzed. If they get paralyzed continuously, like they have started to, apparently. But, yeah, let's hope that paralysis is not that much of a hindrance, and Gerald can deal with a couple more Pokemon before we have to retire Gerald to the bench for now. You know, just I want to get a few more uses out of Gerald. Get them to kill a few more Pokemon until we have to say, like, hey, health is too low and they're paralyzed. We need to stop using them. Because they do need some XP. Not obviously to the extent that Oliver does, because Oliver is 6 levels lower than Gerald. And Gerald is, like, already low compared to some other Pokemon in the team. 6 levels lower, it's like, it just puts into perspective how low Gerald is. But, like, that doesn't mean that... that just puts into perspective how low Oliver is. But that doesn't mean that Gerald also doesn't need XP. So anyway, the majority of those Silph Co episodes were dedicated to explaining, while the topic started with explaining with like pitcher plants, and my goal was to explain like pitcher plants. I felt that it was necessary to explain carnivorous plants as a whole first, and I felt that a good carnivorous plant to start on in the process of doing that was a Venus flytrap, because that's like the most well-known carnivorous plant. So in my pursuit of explaining what a pitcher plant is, I actually spent more time explaining what a Venus flytrap is, for the sake, so the idea was to explain what a pitcher plant is. But I started explaining what a pitcher plant is by explaining what a carnivorous plant is, which meant explaining what a Venus flytrap is. And I actually spent more episodes explaining what a Venus flytrap is than I did explaining what a pitcher plant is, which is what I actually was setting out to do. But yeah, so the first 2 episodes of Silph Co, Silph Co was 3 episodes. In the first 2 episodes, first episode, it wasn't really like all that much about like carnivorous plants, because I had like other conversation topics I was working on, and I just saw the victory of that episode. And so like about halfway through the episode, I started transitioning into like the conversation topic of carnivorous plants, into like the whole pitcher plant thing. And then like second episode was mostly dedicated in conversation to explaining what a Venus flytrap was, and then third episode was dedicated to like finishing off that explanation of Venus flytraps, and then doing a short explanation of the pitcher plants. But yeah, ironically, while my initial goal was to explain pitcher plants, I actually spent a whole lot more time, I'm sure, talking about Venus flytraps than I did talking about pitcher plants, which was the actual plan. And I'm sure I did, because I remember talking about, I barely remember talking about pitcher plants. However, I remember talking about Venus flytraps a lot. But yeah, make a long story short, I did, in that final episode, explain a bit about pitcher plants, and what I said was that, they lure bugs in because of their color, and I will say, and my brother said they actually lured them in through their scent. And I will say, I was right on this one, but he was also right. It is both color and scent, because I know that, I feel like a lot of animals are attracted to bright colors, especially, bugs. You know, bugs are attracted to light. And, what is light besides bright colors, you know? Light literally creates colors, so if they're attracted to light, then it makes sense that they'd be attracted to bright colors. So that's why I said that, but it does also make sense that they would have, a sort of aroma to them, because it is a plant, and you smell a lot of plants and they have an aroma. And, obviously, a lot of bugs are... There are a lot of bugs who are, herbivores, and so they would... a lot of bugs are herbivores. They eat a lot of a lot of plants and stuff, because obviously what else would bugs eat? It's not like they are very high on the food chain. They eat the low things on the food chain, the plants, because it's they can't really eat a whole lot of consumers. They eat a bunch of producers low on the food chain, because obviously bugs are very small. Bugs are very small. Alex, explaining bugs 101 here. In case y'all don't know, bugs are very small. Thank you, Captain Obvious. But, anyway, yeah, a lot of bugs, obviously, audio freaked out for a second there. Obviously, a lot of bugs eat plants because they are, small, and yes, plants are much bigger than them a lot of the time. But at least the plant isn't going to run away. They can slowly nibble at it, and, they can... Because obviously there are a bunch of bugs, they're a bunch of, if you look at plants, sometimes you see, leaves that have just been, chewed and chewed by bugs. And it's the bug, obviously, could not eat the plant quickly, but that leaf isn't going to move away, you know? The plant isn't going to just get up and leave. So, yeah, plants are a major food source for bugs, because even though plants are much bigger, at least the plant isn't going to run away in the middle of the bug eating it. So, therefore, obviously, it makes sense that since their food source would be, their main food source is plants, that they would be attracted by the smells of a plant. So yeah, both things make sense. That bugs would be attracted to both color and smell. So it makes sense that the pitcher plant would use both of these things to lure in its prey. But yeah, recently, to transition out of the carnivorous plant topic, and to finally, I think, put that to rest, because I think that I've said really all that I need to about carnivorous plants at this point. I don't see myself coming back to this topic anytime soon, unless I do some more wacky research and have something else to say about it in the future. But while I'm finishing up the topic, I might as well just say, address, what got the topic started in the first place, which was Victory Bell, and a specific thing about Victory Bell that I was going to say before I got carried away with the whole pitcher plant thing, and it being a pitcher plant, and explaining what a pitcher plant is. And that's that it has this weird, vine, this brown vine, with, a diamond tail on the end, a tail shape. You look at, a serpent, and they have, the kind of, sort of, flame tail that Charmander has. And I don't know what sort of animal has this, but it's, a spear tail. I guess, stereotypical depictions of, demons have this. But, Victory Bell has that sort of thing where it's, a spear on the end of this long vine coming out of its butt, to the point where it almost looks like a tail. And I'm wondering if that is, a tail. But the thing is, the vine also comes out of the top of its head, and it has a leaf on top of it. And that leaf, first of all, wondering if that leaf works as an arm, or if it's just to keep the prey in on top, keep the prey in by, like, covering up the top of its mouth. Because obviously the mouth of a victory bell is on the top of its head. So I'm wondering if, like, that, and, like, the leaf on top of its head, like, over its mouth, looks almost like a hand. The way, like, a hand with 3 fingers, but it's, like, still, like, a hand sort of shape. Because it's, like, a maple leaf where it has, like, the 3 prongs. But, like, that also could, it also kind of looks, which makes it, like, kind of look as if it could be, like, a 3-fingered hand. So I'm wondering if it actually does work as a hand, where it can, like, drag people into the mouth, or it is just there to keep things in the mouth once they get in, like, cover up the mouth. And so that is one question I have about that whole vine thing coming out of its head and its bottom. And then the other question I have is that are those separate vines, or do they have, like, or is it like one, or is it like, are they separate vines, or are they one vine that's just, like, connected to the middle of its body? Like, is there one vine coming out of the top of its head, and is there one vine coming out of its butt, or is it one long vine that is, like, just going into the back of its body, and then coming out on both sides? Like a Doc Ock type of thing, where it's, like, one centerpiece, and then, like, tendrils coming out on either side, like 2 tendrils down by the waist, down, like, below the waist, 2 tendrils over the shoulders. Like, is it that type of thing, where it's, like, two things coming out, both the one thing coming out the bottom, one thing coming out the top, and then, like, a central unit in the middle? Or is it just two separate mechanisms? Is one a tail, and is one, like, a hatch? I don't really know. I've never, like, really looked at the back of a victory bell. I've never had a good opportunity to look at the back of a victory bell, because I've never had a victory bell on my team. So hey, maybe a back sprite would, like, reveal it to me. I don't feel like I've ever, like, okay. I'm sure I've seen the back of a victory bell before, and I don't recall it having, like, a vine over its back. Like, I don't recall the vine being visible on its back. So I'd imagine it is just a tail coming out the butt, and I don't think that the vine that has the hatch, that's holding, like, the hatch leaf on top of its head, now that I think about it, is actually coming out of the back of its head. Rather, I think it's coming from the mouth itself. Which is kind of weird. Like, imagine if you had, like, a hatch on your mouth, and then there was, like, a tube holding it up that was coming out of your mouth. Like, that'd be kind of weird. But hey, who am I to judge Pokemon anatomy? But yeah, I mean, I guess I just have to take a closer look at Victory Bell, because I never really thought about it. Like, what is the deal with, like, the 2 vines that are, like, the exact same color, one coming out the bottom and one coming out the top? Are they one vine? Are they 2 separate vines? I never really thought about it until I saw that sprite. But yeah, Victory Bell is interesting in, like, design inspiration, and also quite interesting when it comes to just, like, I have a lot of questions about the design, but, like, the actual anatomy of the design in general. Anyway, we are going to see if we can surf here. Because I'm wondering if this is just going to push me. If I try to, yeah, it is just pushing me. Where is this pushing me? This is pushing me down here again. And so, where does this send me? I'm free to swim here, swim around as I please. Am I going up here? Because this is like this is the right side of the cave. So, one would think that if I want to exit through the right exit, that I would go up this direction. This Diglett didn't seem to use any ground-type moves before, but I'm at 16 health, so I'm just gonna be safe and switch out anyway. I don't know if it would be able to kill me with moves it has besides a ground-type move. I mean, Diglett is pretty, like, glass cannon-y, like, their attack is nothing to throw off at. So, maybe even if it didn't have a ground-type move to use on me, the super effective ground-type move, which I don't think it does, maybe it would still kill me, but I'm not, like, maybe it wouldn't, because Nidoking's pretty defensive. Either way, I'm not gonna chance it. Just because, like, 16 health, man, that's low. I don't think it's worth it. If it's worth it to chance that. Where does this drop me? This drops me down here, and then I'm out of control again, swimming this way. I don't want to end this episode having not figured out how to get out of this cave, but at the same time, I really don't want to, like, record a huge episode tonight. We did hit the 25-minute mark. We'll see how much longer. We'll check back in, like, 5 more minutes and see if I'm any closer to getting out of this cave. Because I also don't want to, like, stop it right here and then forget where I've already been to. I want to... Let me just put on a max repel real quick. Because I'm tired of all these encounters getting in the way of me, like, actually finding my way out of here. This is not the way. Yeah, all this leads to is this hole over here. So clearly, this is not the way we need to go. So if we go down this way... We went up this ladder, I'm fairly sure. Yeah. But is there another direction we can go from this ladder that would be better? If we go over there, that takes us... That just, like, if we go surf over there, that just takes us, like, to a spot we don't want to be. It's like the current takes us away. What if we drop down here? Drop down here, we get swept up by the current over here. What does this ladder take us to? This ladder takes us all the way back up here. Okay, so that's just the ladder we came from. Okay, so maybe the rock pushing is, in fact, required to get out of here. I thought it was just for Articuno, but maybe it's not. Let's see. We're just gonna go to Carly and we're gonna go for the strength. We can now move boulders. That's great. Let's do that. Let's do a little bit of that whole boulder moving thing that was just mentioned. I'm gonna drop this one down here, and then I'm going to send this one over back here, and then I'm gonna whop, bop, skip pop, and that's all the ones I can really move into holes from here. So if we drop down this hole now, will we be able to swim around freely? Yes, we can. Okay. So now that we can swim around freely, we have actual options about where we could go. We could go get Articuno up here. It's not, like I said, it's not really what I'm aiming for. I'm just trying to get out of here. Repel's effect wore off. That's fantastic. Do we by any chance have another one? I don't think we do. Hopefully we do. Let's see... Obviously we don't have any more max repels, otherwise they would have been stacked up. No, we do not. Okay, so let's hope we can get out of here within a decent amount of time. Let's hope we can find the way out of here quick, because I really don't want to keep on... Like, I really don't want to keep on fighting all these Pokemon. It's getting really repetitive. But anyway, while I'm fighting a bunch of repetitive battles, I might as well talk about my upload schedule, because I know I haven't been uploading, like, I know I've been, like, kind of flopping on the daily uploads recently, like, because I was originally, I don't know if I ever said it, but I was originally aiming for daily uploads, and that didn't necessarily work. Like, I'd say I uploaded daily with an asterisk is how I would always put it. And, I was uploading daily for the summer, but I'm going back to school this week. So, from now on, it's going to be, from now on to the foreseeable future, and for the foreseeable future, I mean, until next summer, I guess, I'm going to be uploading twice a week, rather than trying to upload daily. Twice a week is what I'm going to be aiming for during the school year, because obviously I'm going to be busier since I'm going back to school. So, I may have some extra videos. I may post some extra videos in the week, in, like, the first few weeks of school, just to make up for the absolute flopping on the daily uploads, but, don't expect it to stay that way. If I do give y'all extra videos, I'm kind of scared that this Geodude is going to crit me and kill me. So I'm going to heal up Carly again. I know we're running low on Hyper Potions, but we are not running low on money, so we can just easily buy more. Hyper Potions are the price of a hyper potion is nothing compared to the price of Carly's life, so let's just make sure that Carly is safe. That is the higher priority. Potions can be replaced, Carly cannot. But yeah, I actually did a little. I did a run through of Kirby Star Allies today. I played through the game without inhaling. I thought that would be a fun idea, because, like, obviously in a lot of Kirby games, I'd imagine inhaling is, like, needed. But it is not in Kirby Star Allies, because the thing about Kirby Star Allies is, like, yeah, the main mechanic of Kirby is that, like, you inhale things, and then you spit it, and, like, you inhale stars, and you spit them back out at enemies to kill them, or you inhale enemies and you get powers. Like, literally, your attack options in Kirby pretty much all involve inhaling, unless you want to, like, kick something, which is something that they introduced in, like, newer games, I think. Like, that definitely was not in, say, I don't know, like, Kirby's Adventure. At least, maybe it was, and I just didn't, like, notice. But I haven't actually ever finished Kirby's Adventure. I'm working on it currently, but, like, Nintendo Switch Online, I'm using, like, this Nintendo Switch Online thing, and like I said, I'm sort of broke with Nintendo eShop, so I think that, like, I don't think I'll be finishing Kirby's Adventure anytime soon, really, but I'd like to finish it, really, as soon as I get my Nintendo eShop back. Sorry, as soon as I get Nintendo Online back. Just to say, like, just to have another Kirby game crossed off the list, because I really do like Kirby. But yeah, the whole mechanic of Kirby is centered around, like, swallowing enemies, like, inhaling enemies. And so I thought, well, wouldn't it be... And so I thought, well, Star Allies, the mechanic of the game is that you befriend things, and they do everything for you. So, like, in other games, while it would be like, well... In other games, it's like, okay, I lose an ability. What do I do now? Since I can't inhale, I can't pick the ability back up, and I can't inhale stars to throw back at the boss. So basically, you lose. In other games, you lose your ability, and then, like, that's it. And it's like, how would you even get that ability in the first place? Like, what? Get lucky, run into, like, some copy ability essence. But, like, in Star Allies, the thing about Star Allies is that you have these allies that do basically everything for you, and they can. And so, like, if I lose my ability, I'm serving on Andrew here. What? Oh, I thought this was water. Silly me. I am a little stupid. But let's see if we can get around to, because I feel like we need to get on. I feel like I saw that ladder over on that side, and there's like a big wall separating. I feel like that's the ladder we're aiming for. Well, let me just go over there and show you guys. But yeah, the thing about Kirby Star Allies is, like, okay, the original plan the original thing that I wanted to do was play Kirby Star Allies, but without copy abilities. And so I started doing that, and I was like, okay. So I wasn't inhaling things because I didn't want a copy ability. And, like, you know what would actually be more interesting is Kirby without inhaling, because, like, Kirby with copy ability, because, like, I know that Kirby without copy abilities is, like, I knew that, like, Kirby without copy abilities was possible in Kirby Star Allies. That might be, like, just about the only game where it's actually possible, because obviously you don't need copy abilities if you can just befriend enemies with the copy abilities. So, like, I thought, you know what's a more interesting challenge is Kirby without inhaling. Because, like, what other game would you have the ability to do that? So I decided to do that instead, and I will do Kirby without copy abilities at some other point in time. And, like, what I realized is just, like, I know that a lot of people did not like Star Allies all that much, but I think that Star Allies is absolutely fantastic. And I just, like, it hasn't been very long since I replayed the game, but I think that, like, every time I've replayed the game lately, it's been, like, okay, most recent time I played the game was my brother and I were playing it with my grandfather, and he played, so he's like in his 80s, and he plays like, and he has like an Xbox, so he plays like a couple video games. He plays like mostly shooting games. So like compared to me, who plays like my little Nintendo games, I guess he's a lot more of a gamer. But basically like we were sort of guiding him through Kirby, and he got to play we had him play as Kirby, and we were playing as like the allies, and it's like he plays video games on his own, but he is also like in his 80s, so it's like he's not in like peak gamer condition, you know? So it's like we had to help him through a lot of things. We had to do a bunch of like fights for him, and it's like it's a nice experience, obviously, to like play things with your grandfather. It's nice, but like I think that playing it again by myself was a good idea, because I think that like because I played it with him, and then before that I played it with my brother, and I think that like I had it in my head sort of that it was like a good like co-op game and really nothing more. But there are like very good things about Star Allies besides the fact that it's like good for co-op. And I think that like replaying it again, like first of all, replaying it in one sitting was like it just showed me like, because I can't remember the last time I beat a game in one sitting. Like I don't think there's that many games I've beaten in one sitting, if any. Definitely not a Kirby game before. I know I tried to with Kirby Return to Dreamland Deluxe, but I didn't know how long Return to Dreamland was going into it, because I never played the original, because as I said, I do not have a Wii. I never had a Wii or Wii U, so I never played the original. But then it was like so I thought I was gonna beat it in one day. I got like a couple hours in, and I was like, and then Magalore was like, oh. And then Magalore did like the whole thing where they were like, where you like fix the lore and then they escape, and then you like go to a different world map, and I'm like, oh crap, there's a whole lot more game, isn't there? And like there wasn't, like, because it was just like, oh yeah, I was on Planet Popstar, and I thought like, and then like suddenly I wasn't on Planet Popstar anymore, and I was like, oh my gosh, is this like an entirely new planet? Is it gonna be like 4 more worlds? It wasn't 4 more worlds, it was like 2 more, but like I didn't know that, and like I probably like could have gotten it done in one sitting, but the fact that I beat Planet Popstar and then it showed me just like a whole new area, I'm like, how many more worlds are there in this game? So I decided to stop, even though I only had like 1 world left. So like I probably could have beaten it in one sitting if I wanted to, but that was definitely like the wrong Kirby game to try to beat in one sitting. And I think that obviously it was much easier to beat Kirby Star Allies in one sitting, having played the game a bunch of times before. But yeah, I think that like first of all, it showed me just how, like, playing it in one sitting showed me just how short it was, like, especially in comparison to Return to Dreamland, because I'm like, I was playing Return to Dreamland, and I'm like, Kirby games usually aren't this long, like, it just felt like a long game, and I was looking at it, and I was like comparing the lengths, and I'm like, well, this Kirby game only has like this many worlds, and Return to Dreamland has more, so I was like doing it, and I'm like, how many, like, in terms of Kirby games, is this like a long one? Because I don't really hear people say that it's a long one, but it felt like a long one to me, so I was like comparing it, and after playing through Kirby Star Allies in one sitting, I can say, with the utmost confidence, like, yes, Kirby Return to Dreamland is absolutely a long one. And like, okay, there are not a lot of Kirby games that I wouldn't be willing to 100%. Kirby Return to Dreamland Deluxe totally is. And like, I don't know if like Merry Magoland and like normal mode, like, and like the normal story are like separate things when it comes, or like separate 100%. Like, is there a difference between 100%ing like Merry Magoland and 100%ing everything else, or do you need to 100% Merry Magoland to like 100% the game? or 100% the rest of the game? Like, is it all 100%? I don't even know. However, I do know that, like, I am not 100%ing Merry Mago Land. Like, I can do, like, I can get, like, all the achievements done on a few of those mini-games. But some of those mini-games are just, like, super hard, in my opinion, and I don't, like, this is not what I came for. Like, yes, Kirby mini-games are fun, but when they give you, like, all these different things to do with them, and they give you, like, all these different achievements to get, it's like, I don't like being forced to do Kirby, Kirby mini-games perfectly. You know, like, I want to have fun with Kirby mini-games, I want to just be like, oh yeah, here's a mini-game, I'm gonna play it, and then put it down. Because, like, Kirby mini-games are great. But, like, Merry Mago Land, what they do is, like, for some of them, it's just, like, hit every single target. Get every single egg in your mouth, and it just sounds, like, torturous. So, like, I will definitely, like, 100%, I will definitely, like, get all the achievements in a bunch of them, because I think, like, a lot of the mini-games are very fun. But there are some mini-games where I just, like, I literally give up. Like, I'm not doing it. I'm not getting all the achievements in this one. And I am not 100%ing Merry Mago Land. Like, I will happily 100% like the rest of the game, because I like the gameplay of Kirby, but, like, the gameplay of Kirby minigames is very different than the gameplay of just regular old Kirby. So if I like the gameplay of just regular old Kirby better, if I enjoy the gameplay of the main game over Kirby Egg Catcher, then I just won't play Kirby Egg Catcher. Like, it's that simple. But yeah, I think that, like, I do love the whole mask thing. I'm not usually, like, that big a fan of, like, these cosmetic things that they, like, shove in as just, like, collectibles, because it feels so unnecessary in most games, and then I don't like when they make it necessary. It's just, like, it just feels like, I don't know, I think that like, collectibles are fun until they get in the way of, like, actual going through the game. And I feel like some of the masks in Return to Dreamland Deluxe are, like, so extravagant to the point where it's like, it sort of like breaks the immersion of the game. It's like, why is Kirby wearing a Morpho Knight mask, you know? And, like, I get it that Merry Mago Land is, like, not really canon or anything. It's not, like, with the main story or anything. But, like, there are, like, stuff like that where it's just like, oh, put a mask on this character, or, oh, you can change their outfit. I'm usually not too big of a fan of, but I will say, like, for what it is, I think the masks are really nice. I don't want to get, like, too carried away with them. I think that, like, there are some of them that I absolutely would not wear because it just looks, like, too absurd to, like, be walking through a Kirby game with this mask on. But I definitely do go for the Dark Meta Knight one, and I don't want to change off it anytime soon. Like, I think the Dark Meta Knight is the vibe for me. And, like, that may not be the most detailed mask or anything, but it's enough for me. Because, in the end, like, yeah, the masks are cool, but at the same time, I just like seeing Kirby's little face. Kirby's cute little face. So, like, I think that, like, Kirby Planet Robobot hit it perfect. Got it perfect, because, like, the stickers are like shown in gameplay, but they're not, like, intrusive to the point where, like, because, like, the masks, obviously, it's like you could collect them, but you can also use them in, like, the actual gameplay of the game, and you, like, see them. But it's not like the stickers in Kirby Planet Robobot where it's like, oh yeah, they're just, like, on the side of the robot suit. So, like, you don't see them unless you're, like, looking for them, really. With, like, the mask, it's like, no, it's literally over Kirby's face. It's covering up Kirby's face. And, like, I think that that's almost too intrusive, in my opinion. Where does this ladder go? I feel like I've just been walking around in circles for ages at this point. How on earth do I get out of here? Let's see. Let's push this down here. See if that does anything. See if that helps me in any way. Gosh darn it, man. This is just as painful as I remember it being. Only last time I came here, I think I had repels. But yeah, I definitely did not plan on talking about Kirby, but I just exhausted... definitely did not plan on talking about Kirby today, but I just exhausted all the conversation topics I was using, so at this point I have to I have to switch it up now and talk about something else that I wasn't planning on talking about. I mean, I'm down to talk about Kirby. I talk about Mario a lot, but I do also like Kirby. I just feel like there's not as much to talk about with Kirby. For some reason, like, I feel like Mario is inherently, like, a simpler franchise, but maybe that's why it's easy to talk about Mario, because then when Mario does something interesting, it's actually, like, feels really interesting. Meanwhile, there's so much that's interesting about Kirby that's really, like, a lot to unpack. But yeah, I love, speaking of interesting things about Kirby, I love in Kirby Star Allies, okay, Kirby Star Allies, here's the thing. A lot of people say it's just a bunch of fan service, and I do agree that there's, like, a lot of fan service in there. And first of all, I like the fan service that they're doing, and second, I also just think the game is well made. Which is a lot, which is, like, a thing that I don't feel like a lot of people say. Like, I think that people think the game is, like, repetitive, or, like, level design's not that interesting, and I can see why you would think that, but it's, like, it's enough for me. I'm fine with it. I think it's all good. I'm gonna plop this down here and hope this actually does something and enables me to get out of this cave finally. It sucks that I have to use strength again. But, like, just little things where it's like, oh yeah, there's, like, the Adeline paints, like, al fresco, and it's like the picnic. It's like the picnic blanket at the end of the Kirby 64 levels that Kirby jumps onto to, like, get the food. It's like, that's cute. And, like, maybe it's a little too much for some people. It's like, wow, they're abusing nostalgia, and they're doing all this fan service just to get people to like the game. But I think that, like, regardless of the fan service, like, all this referencing old games aside, it is still a good game, and it still does stuff that is, like, interesting on its own. Like, I do like Highness a lot. I think that his design is goofy, but also really scary. I think they hit it perfect with him. And Void Termina is just so menacing, and, like... Okay, Highness is crazy vibes. Obviously, he's like... and he makes, like, all these wacky noises, and he's got, like, the crazy eyes. It's like, they really nailed... Because, like, Highness is, like, a cult leader. You know, I'm not familiar with, like, Kirby lore, but from what I gather, Highness seems to be, like, a cult leader, and he's, like, trying to summon Void Termina. And he's basically, like, indoctrinated Francisca, Flamberge, and Zampartizan, the three mage sisters. And, like, yeah, I think that he's just, like, perfect. He's just, like, such a good, like, crazy occult leader. Like, he's, like, classic cult leader, where he's, like, so dedicated. Okay, I think they did, like, a great job of depicting, like, a cult leader sort of thing, sort of character. Because Highness is, like, so dedicated to the cause of summoning Void Termina that he literally, like, jumps into the Dark Jamba Heart himself, which I think is crazy. Like, he literally sacrifices the three mage sisters to the Dark Jamba Heart and then jumps in himself. He's like, for Lord Highness! Sorry, not Lord Highness, he's Lord Highness. For Void Termina! And then he's, like, jumps in the heart. And I love how he just, like, goes all limp and sort of, like, ragdolls in there. It's so... It reminds me of, like, a fish that, like, flops in. He honestly does remind me of, like, Squidward a little bit. And I think that's such a weird comparison. Because Squidward is definitely not an occult alien with a... definitely not an occult alien who sacrifices himself to summon a dark being. But, they are both blue. Obviously, Highness is a very different shade of blue, but they're both blue with long noses. And I look at Highness, and I can't help but think, like, alien Squidward. Like, I hate to say it, but he does just give me Squidward vibes. Obviously, a very menacing Squidward, but Squidward vibes nonetheless. And I do like the whole, like, mask that Void Termina has going on. Like, his face is like a mask, and then it, like, falls off, and it reveals just, like, this void inside his body, which makes sense, because he's Void Termina. It's like a spinning, like, circle. It's like a spinning circle that's, like, behind his body once it... Like... Okay, wait a minute. So I dropped that rock, and it ended up down there, which is different from down here, is what I'm realizing. Because I was like, how does the dropping of the rocks actually help me? And in this case, dropping these rocks over here, I'm trying to figure out where the rocks are, because I've dropped rocks down here, and I'm sure they stay. I don't know if they stay if I exit the cave, or if I would have to do that whole puzzle again to get back to Articuno, because I might, like, go back and get Articuno later once I have, like, actually, like, higher level Pokemon and more Ultra Balls, but, like, for now, obviously, it's dangerous, so I'm not gonna go do that. But, like, if I wanted to come back, like, could I, or would I have to solve the whole puzzle again, is what I'm wondering. I assume that once I exit the cave, that's, like, the point where the rocks reset themselves. And I was like, okay, so, like, I'm sure these rocks have stayed, I'm sure these rocks have not disappeared just because I've, like, gone to jump to other floors, because, like, obviously they drop, and then you go down to that floor, and they're there. So I'm sure these rocks should still be here. I just don't remember exactly where I dropped them. They should be over here. Yes. Okay, so the rocks stay. So I dropped these rocks, and it really didn't do anything for me except, like, allow me to get Articuno. But what I'm now realizing is that those rocks over Articuno, I have to drop other rocks to get out of here. Like, those are, like, yes, I need to drop rocks to get out of here. And I was wondering why. And I was, like, dropping rocks, and I thought that that would get me out. And, like, it will. I was just dropping the wrong rocks, is what I'm realizing now. Because I was dropping rocks down there, when I really should have been dropping rocks into the other room to cut off the current for that section, rather than cutting off the current for the Articuno section. Oh my gosh, I did not expect this episode to go on for this long. I thought that since I did, like, I thought that since I, like, basically did this entire place, since I basically explored the entire cave in the last episode, I would be able to, like, pretty much, like, solve all the puzzles and then wrap up and be out of here in, like, 20 minutes. And then, like, be ready to be, like, at Cinnabar by the time we hit the 25-minute mark. But apparently not. Apparently I've underestimated the difficulty of this. So I need to get other rocks down to that floor, but the problem is, I don't know what separates that floor from the other floor, because I just sort of, like, drop down, and then I'm in the water, and then it, like, takes me down to the bottom of that, like, screen, and then somehow I end up somewhere else. And I don't know how that works, because I'm dropping rocks down from the same floor, and one ends up on one side, one ends up by Articuno, and one ends up in that area, even though I'm dropping them both from the same floor. So I don't know how that works, and I don't know how I would drop more into the area I actually want to drop them. Obviously, I'll drop the ones for Articuno, which is really the opposite of what I wanted to do. I wanted to get out of here without getting Articuno. I wanted to completely ignore Articuno, go past them, and not do the puzzle for Articuno, but instead I did the puzzle for Articuno rather than the puzzle to actually get out of here. So now I have, like, the way to Articuno. I have the current set, so I can get to Articuno, but I don't have the current set so I can actually get out of here, which is a pain in the butt, because I don't know how to set it so I can get out of here. And I really do want to get out of here, because not only is this episode going on for much longer than I thought it would, but my Pokemon are also starting to get pretty low on health. Obviously, Andrew's doing fine, and we could always pull out Polly if we need to, but I don't want to. I don't want to pull out the Pokemon that don't need health. So wait, is this the floor where I can't surf around freely? I think that, like, having repels going in here would make this whole thing a lot easier. But I don't know where I would, like, where I could, like, buy repels. I don't think I can anywhere. Like, maybe you could buy repels somewhere in the newer games, but I don't think you can in this game. I don't recall seeing them in, like, any of the shops, and maybe I just wasn't looking. Maybe I just wasn't looking for them, so I didn't see them. But, oh my gosh, I'm so used to switching in Alice, at this point, because and I was like, okay, let's switch in Alice. They need levels, and they're high in health, but the thing is, their health is high, but their PP is not. They're out of PP on a bunch of moves, so, go for Nightshade. Okay, Nightshade wouldn't have killed. I didn't know about anything else. I don't think Lick would have actually hit us, though, if we went for Lick, because Ghost-type moves don't affect normal-type moves. Ghost effect moves don't ghost type moves don't affect normal type Pokemon is what I'm trying to say. My gosh. But yeah, Carly has consumed a bunch of Hyper Potions at this point, but they are the only one with some they are like the only one we have here with decent PP that also needs to level up some more. So we'll let her use some more potions on them. I don't like the fact that they are paralyzed, because that is going to cause us to get hit even more before we can kill this thing. And that's going to cause us in turn to use even more potions. So I would like to use a paralyzed heal if I have one, but at the same time I kind of wouldn't, because that would be sort of a waste, because this thing could just lick me and put me back to being paralyzed again right after I healed it. So maybe that would be a waste even if I was able to heal it, but I am not, so that is not even a decision I need to make. Anyway, so we have 3 flies left. That should be enough to kill this thing. What I'm now realizing is that switching in Carly against the Haunter maybe wasn't the best idea, and healing them up was it. Like, there are better Pokemon I probably could have used the potion on. Better Pokemon I probably could have used the potion on. But like, because like, yes, they have the most PP out of everyone probably left that we are using at least, but at the same time, wait, so we can't. Okay, so this is where the rocks are being dropped. We need to drop more rocks into this water over here, is what I'm guessing. Because if we go in this water, I feel like we just, like, can't... Okay, I think we need to go through this water and, like, down. And to the right. I think we need to get to the bottom right, because that is where the cave would let out, theoretically. We were trying to get to an exit, to the right and down from where we went in. So therefore, it would make sense that the ladder we're looking for to get out is right and down from here. So I think that, and the reason why we can't get over there is because, yes, we can get over to the top right of this floor, because there are ladders over there, but we can't get over to the bottom right. And we can't get over to the bottom right because of the current. So we need to block up the current so we can get to the bottom right of this floor, and then so once we stop this current, we should be able to surf down there, surf down to that area of this floor, and take the ladder up from there, hopefully. Obviously I can't see in that direction, I can't like zoom out and see like the whole floor, but I'd assume that's where we need to go, because that's what I can think of here. Obviously blocking out that bottom floor, blocking out the current in that bottom floor didn't really help us with actually getting out of here. It allowed us to get Articuno, but that's not what we need. So I'd imagine the only thing that makes sense to me in terms of like how we actually get out of here would be to block off the current on this floor instead. So that's what we're working towards. At least now I have sort of identified a goal. But the problem obviously is figuring out where to push a rock down so that it ends up in this water next to that rock, blocking off the current. Because, yeah, I'm fairly sure we cannot just surf down to the bottom right from here. Because we just got pushed by the current, and so it didn't work. It didn't work before. Yeah, we just got pushed by the current down into that area, which sent us down to the bottom floor. Down to the bottom floor without Articuno. Yeah, okay, so what we need to do is I see it now, that staircase in the top right of the screen. That is where we need to get to, but we just cannot get there because the rapids, the waters are just like pushing us not there. So we just stop the water from flowing so rapidly. We need to cut off the current, and then we can go back down here and surf over to that side of the cave, and then take the ladders up and out, and we can finally get out of the Seafoam Islands. But yeah, while I'm trying to figure out how to push the rock down, where to find the rock and how to push it down, I will continue talking about Kirby Star Allies, since that is the conversation topic I was just on, and I'm sure there's more I can find more to say about it. I do like the Three Mage Sisters designs. I think it's really cool how they were all, like, saved by Highness, and then Highness sort of, like, indoctrinated them from there, because, like, they feel like they owe him a debt, because he, like, saved their lives, but he doesn't really care about them at all. Like, he just saved them because he saw potential in them, and then they felt like they owed him. And like, so he would continue to disrespect them and treat them like crap, and they really couldn't do anything about it because, like I said, they felt that they, like, owed him their lives or whatever. And I think that that's, like, really cool. And, like, hey, maybe I'm, like, completely wrong. Obviously, like I said, I don't know a lot about Kirby lore. I know that Kirby lore is, like, pretty hefty. So maybe I'm, like, completely wrong, but that's at least how I'm reading the whole situation. But yeah, talking about something I know about. I don't know about their lore as much as I know about, like, actually what they look like and, like, how they act. And I will say that I love the whole Jambastion thing. It's such, like, I'd imagine it's a made-up word, right? Like, because they say, like, Jamba Heart, and, like, because, like, for a while I thought, is Jambastion a made-up, is Jambastion, like, a real word? But it's, like, Fortress of Jambastion and, like, Jamba Heart, and she says Jamba-bye, and I feel like there's just too much referencing to Jamba for it to, like, actually be, for Jambastion to actually be a word. But, like, yeah, I think that the whole, like, Fortress of Jambastion thing is really interesting, and, like, the whole, because, like, and I imagine this, like, ties into the, there's, like, major, like, lore ties with, like, the whole Jamba thing, because, like, there's, like, the symbol, there's, like, the symbol that's, like, on their hats, I believe, the three Mage Sisters, and it's, like, the same symbol that Highness casts spells with. It's, like, the symbol that he uses, like, he has, like, a blizzard move, where he just, like, makes blue symbols appear around him, and then they, like, cast, like, a blizzard wind. And then that symbol is also the same symbol that Void Termina ultimately, like, shoots lasers out of. So clearly this is, like, and, like, that symbol is also just a giant symbol on the Fortress of Jambastion. So it seems to be some sort of, like, Jamba symbol. And so I'm sure that that is, like, a symbol of, like, the cult or something that Highness has going. And, I will say, their designs, the, Three Mage Sisters, absolutely remind me of, like, Me Plaza Me's, which I think is really funny. I like how they all are... I like how they have, like, these... I think that it's, like, funny how they all have, like, these... How like, their dialogue follows this pattern of being, like, starting out, like, really chill, and then they all end with, like, an exclamation that, like, references them. And they're like Francisca's like, I'll have to put you on ice forever. And Flamberge is like, even roasty toasty marshmallows will look cool compared to you. It's like very interesting. It's very cool to me how they, like, all have these exclamations that, like, are indicative to them at the end, where it's like a big monologue ending with, like, exclamation revolving around who they are and what they do. I think that's cool. And I think that, like, the evil laughs are so cool, especially, like, yes, Francisca's is really cool, how she's, like, it sounds like absolutely insane, Francisca's, and it's really cool how it's, like, she's shooting the water, and it's like, ah ha 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 ha, and she just keeps on laughing as the water is, like, shooting out of her water gun thing. It's, like, going all across the screen, like, up and down, in, like, a zigzag pattern. And it's just, like, as long as it's still on the screen, like, the entire time she's shooting the water, it's, like, the entire time she's shooting the water, she's still laughing, and I think it's it's really funny, but also, like, it's also, like, kinda scary, obviously, for how long, like, how she laughs so long. I'm just trying to figure out where the heck this rock is, guys. This is taking ages. And Repels, I'm sure, would slow down the process, like, would make the process, like, so much faster, because I wouldn't have to deal with all these encounters constantly. And I would have a better idea of... like, where I'm going. But... I'd have a better idea of, like, where I'm going. But, But yeah, like I said, I don't really have access to repels at the moment right now. But yeah, I do like the contrast of it. I do like how they are all like very simple. The designs of the three ancestors, and obviously the fact that they are just like floating body parts, and, like a floating like torso and no legs, and then just like a big old head with like floating hands, no arms. It is obviously eerily familiar to Susie, like if you know Susie from Kirby Fun Robobot. It feels very similar to that. And so obviously they have like these very simple designs. And they are like the three primary colors, which I think is very, like, obviously it adds to like the simplicity of them. Like, they are simple designs, but they are, and it's like it's like very simple designs. It's like simple colors, simple elements. It's like one's lightning, one's fire, one's ice. It's like a very simple idea. It's like in Pokemon too, you know, it's like the legendary birds, like lightning, fire, ice. So it's very simple in like concept of like the color that they are. The colors that they are. They're all the primary colors, and they're all like main elements that you would think of. And they are all, and they all like have very simplistic designs that are like in terms of anatomy and like their body, like just like missing legs, missing arms, but they have like a torso and a head. It's like the main important things, but it's like simplified by the fact that there are no legs or arms on them. And then obviously they are all like very similar in like designs. They all have like the hat, the uniform, the two hands, the missing like the floating torsos, missing legs, missing arms. But what separates them obviously is their personalities and their weapons, because Franziska obviously wields like this staff, which looks like a snowflake. Flamberge wields a sword, which looks like a flame, like a flame rising up, like a fire. The way it's like curves, it looks like a flame that is like in the wind. And then like Zampartisan's spear is like, and then Zampartisan wields a spear, which I don't really know what is like so lightning about that, but I guess because like lightning strikes like down in like a thin line, sort of. I guess that's like why it would be a spear. And then obviously they have like their other weapons that they use that are like ranged weapons. So they all have a melee weapon and ranged weapons that they use like less often than the melee weapons. So then for the ranged weapons, Franziska has her water gun, and Flamberge has like her giant flame cannon, and then Zampartisan has like her whole lightning thing that she has around her entire body, which has like a bow at the end that shoots like a giant lightning arrow. And so they all have like these up close weapons. They have all these up close weapons, like melee weapons that they use constantly, and they have these then they have these ranged weapons that they do not use as continuously, and they do not use as continuously and they do not use as much, and they are obviously more powerful. And I do like that, like, you can, like, I do like that, like, if you hit them, I don't know if it's, like, you can hit them with anything, but I know that it works, like, I've seen it with water. I don't know if it works with, like, every power-up, but I know if you hit Flamberge's cannon enough, it just kind of explodes, which I think is funny. I do like that aspect of, like, elemental interactions in Kirby, because obviously there are so many abilities, so it's kind of, like, interesting to... So it's like kind of a lot. It feels like kind of a lot. Because it's like, oh yeah, it feels like kind of a lot. Because it's like, there are so many abilities, and like there's so many different elements. It's like rocks, and water, and ice, and fire, and electric. So it's like, it seems like a lot to sort of sort out like what does what, and like all these interactions between them. But they do like a fair bit of interacting with each other, which I think is really cool. And obviously they have like Wispy Woods' obviously they have like the whole thing of Wispy Woods burning, and that has been in games before, I think, but I don't think it's ever been, like, as dramatic as it is in Star Allies, in which he's literally, like, in which you, like, literally just keep shooting fire at him until he is, like, burning to the ground. Like, obviously, I think that fire has had effects on Wispy Woods before, like, using Fire Kirby. Attacking with fire has, like, had effects before, but I don't think it's been, like, that dramatic of an effect before. Where it's literally has, like, its own animation of him just, like, suffering. I am scared of this Diglett using, killing me with this dig right now. I didn't think the Diglets had ground type moves, so I'm just gonna switch into Polly, because, everyone else is not doing so well health-wise. This is getting really scary, honestly, how long we've been in here, and how much damage my Pokemon are starting to take. Mew has Psychic, which I was not expecting, actually. Let's go for the Mega Punch. I don't know if it'll do all that much, because I'd imagine Mew is a special attacker. I think they are like, split, because technically they have, like, the same in every stat. So maybe they aren't a special attacker, but they just feel like they'd be a special attacker. Like, I know they're not a special attacker. Like, you look at their base stats, they're not leaning towards anything in particular. But... okay, let me just see, because I'm not seeing any rocks to push down anywhere. And I've been up and down this floor and the floor below it, like, tons of times, and I'm not seeing any rocks. So I'm wondering if the rock that we need to push down is actually a floor on the floor above us. And I'm just not seeing it because I'm not on the right floor. But, yeah, we're just gonna head up there after we beat the Snorlax. And, hopefully it is up there so we can finally, get, like, push it down, and it can... so we can finally, like, push it down, and it can finally, like... push it down and get it in the water so that we can actually, like, get out of here. I'm scared of how much damage this Snorlax could potentially do with another hit, but our team is not looking good, and no one on our team is looking good, so I'm scared to switch Andrew out as well. I'm just gonna keep Andrew in and trust that Andrew's got this, because I'm sure they do. Andrew does not let me down, and I might need to honestly just, like, get out of here and come back to this in another episode, because at this point, this is, like... I was trying to do this in this episode, but at this point, this is taking so long, and my Pokemon are getting so low on health, I just don't know what to do at this point. Is there a rock we can push down over here? There is a rock okay, that's the rock that we need to push down. I now see what we need to do. So, here's the rock over here. My gosh, it would have been so much easier if I just pushed down this rock from the beginning. And then I wouldn't have been up and down that floor several thousand times. But, here we go, we finally found it. And so I'd imagine if we just push this rock down here, and we keep on following it down, keep on falling down the same hole that it is falling down, we will eventually get to the bottom, and then into the water that it falls into, and then we will be able to go through that water, surf through it without the water current taking us to places we do not want to be. So let's keep on pushing it down. I don't know how many more floors we got. It is really annoying that we have to keep using strength every time we go down a new floor. Is that something that you have to do in future games? I don't know. I'd imagine that... did they change that? I feel like they might have. But, like, it would make sense if they hadn't, because that is just, like, a loading zone that you have to go through. It's like it just loaded a new floor, so it kind of makes sense that it also wouldn't stay the strength effect that you had from the last floor. We really do not have anything that we can use to hit this that won't be not very effective. But let's go for the Surf. I don't know if Surf at this point does more damage than Thundershock, because I know Surf is high power and Thundershock is not that high power, but Thundershock at least has Stab. So maybe we should be going for Thundershock, maybe we should be going for Surf. I don't really know. But I'm just going to trust that Surf is the right move in most situations, because Surf is just such high power. It is honestly kind of crazy. Like, I believe it is 90. It might be 95. But, like, it's crazy that, like, it's that strong. Because other types obviously don't even have moves that are that strong, that that consistent damage that are like other moves, other types don't even have moves that are like that do that much damage that aren't like, oh, this has like 90 accuracy or something. Like there's always a like with other types, there's like they have moves like that. They might have moves that are like that power, but like with a drawback. Like this is like it served as a crazy amount of damage for not having any sort of drawback. Like flamethrower 2. I feel like grass type doesn't really have a move like that where it's just like insane power without a drawback. I guess like seed bomb, but seed bomb is 80 and flamethrower is 90, and I think surf might be 95. I'm fairly sure it's 95, at least in Gen 3. I feel like I recall it being 95 because I feel like I thought it was 90, and then I saw it in Gen 3 and I'm like, it's 95. Like I feel like I remember having that reaction, like, oh my gosh, that's high. That's so much higher than I thought it was. So I feel like it is 95 in Gen 3. Or maybe I'm wrong. Because I feel like also a lot of base powers don't end in a 5. I feel like they usually end in a round number that is like a 0. Has like a 0 at the end. Are we down yet with all the... Yes, we can swim freely, which means we can get over here, up these stairs, we can surf around, and get onto this little platform of rock over here. And you can see, actually, a ladder down there. I can't tell if it goes up or down, but hopefully it goes up, because that way we will be able to take it up, and we will be able to finally get out of this stupid cave that we have spent, at this point, 1 hour and 16 minutes in. More than that, because that's just this recording session. Obviously, I started this cave last recording session. And I think that had I not been doing all this talking, and had I been actually concentrating on the cave itself and trying to get through it, I think that I might have been able to get through here a little faster. But hey, that's the job of a commentator. You gotta commentate. So yeah, maybe it would have been faster if I hadn't been commentating, but that's also what the job entails. So yeah, then I could have gotten through the cave faster, but then I also wouldn't be doing my job, because you're not just here to watch me get through the cave, you're here for the commentary. If y'all are watching this video, then you are clearly not... If you're watching this video, then you are clearly not here for a tutorial on how to get through Seafoam Islands. You are clearly here for my commentary if you're even watching this long, because who would watch me struggle through a cave this long if they didn't like hearing my commentary? So if you are watching right now, then thank you so much, because I have been talking for ages, and just thanks for listening. Let's see. Gerald or Alice? Gerald. It's just, I don't know how we ended up with, I was gonna say I don't know how we ended up with 0 hypnosises and a bunch of Dream Eaters left, but I guess just Hypnosis missed a lot. Does make sense. Dream Eater is 100% accuracy, Hypnosis is not. I feel like we have more Hypnosises though, so by like at least 5. So I guess we just missed a lot of Hypnosises, because I don't recall this usually happening. I feel like usually we run out of Dream Eaters before we run out of Hypnosises. And I feel like also status moves normally have more PP than actual attacking moves do, so it's kind of strange to me that we ran out of Hypnosises first. But yeah, we have like 6 more Dream Eaters, I think, and we're out of Hypnosises, which has never happened before. But hey, I guess there's a first time for everything. And like, Acid is not like Acid is just like, I guess it is 40 power, isn't it? Like Poison Sting, it's not like Poison Sting where it's only 15. Like, it is slightly better, and I guess that, like, and so it is Stab, and it is, like, the right sort of attack. Like, it is a physical attacking move, and they are a physical attack, and Haunter is a physical attacker. So I guess it is the right type of move. It is the right type of move when it comes to physical or special, and it is Stab. So I guess, despite the lackluster power, it must be good coming off a Haunter, because, like, Thundershock is good coming off a Jolteon. And that's 40 power, and that's Stab. And that's, like, the right thing when it comes to attacking and special attacking. So I'd imagine that, since they both share those things, since they both have those things in common, Jolteon Haunter using Acid would be of pretty much equal power to Jolteon using Thundershock, but I feel like I haven't seen those results, or maybe I'm just placeboing myself to think that Jolteon's better than they actually are because they're my starter, but oh my gosh, we're not going back in there. Thank you all so much for watching, Eevee Clan. If you liked this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and if you didn't like this video, do that anyway. It helps a lot. Thank you all so much for watching. I said it already, I'll say it again, and this is Alex Espion, signing off.